Shut up and sit down.
Everything's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be okay. Bad stuff happens in the bathroom. I'm just glad that it happens in a vacuum. Can't let them see me with my pants down. Coasters magazine is gonna be my big chance now, but I'll be out of here in
I think I'm gonna be sick.
You can have all this, boy, and there's only one thing that I want from you. Come on, let me ride your bicycle. It's so fantastical on your bicycle. We can get a little more physical, baby.
You are listening to the Dialed Podcast with Matt Legrand, Evan Price, Lance Hapler, and Jake Von Turing. Thank you for your time and enjoy the show. That was a little soft. I'll do better next week.
Hi, and welcome back to the Dialed Podcast. Thank you for joining us. I am here today with Lance Hapler.
Lance Romance, here I am, ready to roll.
Okay,
That was way too much energy.
So, yes.
I think I'm done.
So, Lance, one of the guys that I run with, Vern, you probably know him, but he was like, "Why do you guys pick on Lance?"
Yeah.
We're picking on Lance.
Yeah, just like a random guy that I
I'm
work
building him up this whole
with.
time.
And I'm like, well, no, Lance does it himself.
How can you not pick on that?
It's Lance Romance. He does it himself.
Does it
So
himself.
I do think it's, it's a great. Your introduction is fantastic. It's glorious.
Thank you.
Yes.
And we have Evan Price back in studio.
And equally bad, as good as Lance's. How's it going?
What is up? Yes.
And of course, last but not least, Mr. Matt Legrand.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Online in the webs, interwebs,
Interweb.
interwebs.
And I am Jake Von Turing. Yeah. Let's get started.
Yeah.
I can't compare to any of that stuff. Let's get started with our weekly backpedal, guys. How was this past week? I know Evan had kind of a cool week, so I'm
Yeah.
going to save you for last this week.
Start with me, man. I have nothing.
Myself and Matt, man, we are two
Yeah.
peas in the pod. Lance has always got some good stories, so let's go ahead. We'll start with Matt.
No, I mean, it's not bad. It's just that, I feel like I'm kind of getting into that. You guys all can probably relate to this, where it's like you're getting in good training, you're doing good stuff. It's just not exciting. It's like, it's okay. Like, you slam the tea mug down, and you're like, I'm thinking, well, I'd had a really insane workout on. I got a new Wahoo kicker, made a YouTube video about it, and did some insane workout on there, and felt like I felt sick afterwards. Like when you're
Like
out of
stomach
shape.
sick? Or
Just,
Like I went too hard sick.
yeah, well, I mean, I knew I went too hard, so the workout was it's kind of over under stuff. Actually,
Oh, the
it was-
over-unders.
actually, it was what-
Yep.
So Evan stopped by
Yeah.
my house in the middle of it, and it was fine because I had only gone through the first set, and
he
it
was
was
very sweaty.
I was
Very
sweaty, yeah.
yeah.
So it's basically normal thing is 30 minutes of over and under, and it's not really FTP. It's still slightly under that kind of sweet spot training stuff. So 30 minutes, and then you take a little bit of a break, and then a spike, and then you do another 30 minutes. But this one, I was like, all right, I need a little bit more volume. I'm going to go through it 3 times, and then you select the workout or whatever it is. And so Evan did stop in the middle and caught me nice and sweaty, but I was fine at that point, not sick. And I started back up, and then got through the second set, and I was like, ooh, that's tough, all right? Third set, let's do it. Third set, you amp yourself up a little bit, and I got into it, and I was like, wait a minute, it's not 30. The last one's not 30 minutes, it's 40 minutes. It's
sneaky.
a little
Sneaky.
slap in the tail, right? When it's you are already down, you're going to be out. And I was in a bad place. And I went to soccer, kids soccer games afterwards, and I felt really sick. I was just I was just watching the soccer game like this, just holding my head. But a lot of it's right, because when you're out of shape, you can still push yourself pretty hard, but you pay the price, right? We've talked about this on this podcast before, where it's you can do things out of shape that you shouldn't. You just pay the piper,
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, I've had a whole bunch of good workouts and stuff like that. The stuff that I need to be doing, I feel like I'm doing, but it's not exciting. It's not like I'm, climbing mountains or anything like that. It's no racing, just like hitting the kicker core a couple times, running a little bit, and swimming a lot. So it's not exciting of a back pedal, not much of a back pedal there for sure.
It's okay.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah.
It's the long off-season grind here.
Right. And
this is the beginning of it.
This is the beginning. Yeah. And this is kind of what it's going to be. You guys are probably going to, don't unsubscribe to our podcast. 'Cause,
Oh, we're gonna have
I'm
plenty.
gonna have
But
to-
this is where we get to talk about the fun stuff,
Yeah,
like
well,
things
it's
we don't get to talk about during the season. Yeah,
the grind.
I'll still have stuff, Matt.
I
Don't
know.
worry.
Don't
Lance
worry.
Lance races year round.
You're Lance Romance.
I'm Lance Romance.
You're Lance Romance. You're going to have stories to go for days. Okay. That's it for my back pedal.
All right.
Excellent. Lance, how was your week, man?
My week was anticlimactic,
Anticlimactic.
anti-glorious.
Anti-glorious.
Oh no, it really wasn't that bad. I did race a few times. I raced 3 times this week. Tuesday, I did the Portland Trophy Cup cyclocross race. I did decide to race the Masters 1-2
Okay.
division, and I just got smoked.
So for a little bit of people, for folks that are just tuning in and this is your first time listening to the podcast, Lance really just like either last week or the week before just got bumped up to the 1-2s.
forcefully bumped.
Well,
Yeah.
right. To the 2, but you race 1-2s pros basically, or Masters 1-2s.
Right.
So the big boy pants.
Yeah, and the week before I had gotten a really good start and actually
Yeah.
finished second and was super happy,
Crazy.
but not this week.
Okay.
I just did not get a good start, and boom, man, they went away from me. I think I was like 9th out of 20 or something like that. So mid-pack.
Still, that's still not bad.
Still a lot of fun. Still was like just hammering out there, having a great time. So that was good. Wednesday night, I went to Blind Date at the Dairy, which is another cyclocross race series. And in that race, they actually have a 2-3 Masters division, and not every race has a 2-3 Masters division. So that's right.
Nice.
That's
Yeah.
perfect for me. Got a great start. It was a 7-lap race or something like that. Half a lap in, I flatted. Blew up my front tire.
Did
Yeah.
you hit something? Or?
Yeah, there's a curb
Right.
that you kind of have to bunny hop that
Okay.
we do every single lap. So I've done it 30 times.
Right.
And I was in 4th place, so I was in a good position, and I was right on a guy's wheel, and I mistimed it.
Yeah.
It was it's
happens.
dark.
Right.
So
Right.
I flatted, and then I cussed loudly because I was a long way from the pit and decided this night is over. So
Okay.
I walked to my truck and threw my bike in the truck and drove home.
Well, that's
Took
the
his
nice-
bike and went home.
I took my bike and went
outta
home.
here. I'm not playing with you guys.
Bike tire flew out.
Well, that's the nice thing about racing, like 8 times a week or however much you're
It's
racing.
always another race.
You're like,
Yeah.
this one didn't work out. I can do, another one tomorrow or tomorrow
Right.
morning and then tomorrow evening, right? That's how you go with your racing.
So Saturday there was another race.
Yeah.
It was called Ninkrossy.
Yeah.
It is out of the Washougal motocross track, and it's part of the Grand Prix Carl Decker race.
It's a local favorite.
Yeah, it's a
for
local
sure.
favorite. It's a great race, good turnout, lots of people there. I raced. This time I decided not to race the Masters 1-2 race. I raced the Open 2-3
Okay.
race. So I'm racing the 13-year-olds who are super fast and
Fast kids.
and all the 20-somethings that have 200 beat per minute heart rates, which I don't have anymore. And so that was kind of fun. But the race right before ours, it was like dry all morning, and then it dumped for like 25 minutes, and the course just mudded out, just slick as snot. So it completely changed. So like all the lap times from the early
Right.
Cat 5, Cat 4 racers were really fast. And then all the 2, 3 and the 1-2 lap times were super slow because it just
Oh yeah.
totally
And
slicked up.
do you have time to change tire selection or do you
No.
just because
Unless you have different wheels with different tires,
Yeah.
which I don't.
What were
Which
you
that surprises me
riding
that you
with
don't.
wise?
I had Schwalbe X1s on, which are not really that good of a mud tire.
Right. Mhm.
But because my other tires kept burping,
right?
I'm running tubeless, and because they kept burping, I decided to take those tires off my bike and put on the Schwalbes that fit my rims better and don't burp as much. So I went with the non-flat ones that don't have as much traction.
Okay, good
Which-
choice. Good choice.
I don't know if it's a good choice or not.
No,
I
it's not
spun
a
out.
horrible choice.
I never crashed.
Actually, for that situation, very bad.
You never
choice.
crashed, just spun out.
I never crashed, but I spun out
Yeah.
a few times where it just had, no traction.
Well,
So
so
What tire pressure were you running there?
I also went with higher tire pressure so
Okay.
that I wouldn't flat.
okay.
Also a poor choice.
What? I was about to say you go. What are their width?
They're 33s.
33s. That's
So
okay.
so I have a question for you. So you're our buddy that has like bikes, coming out of your ears.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that you don't have just a separate pair of tires that are ready to go for when the rain hits like that, or a whole separate bike,
Yeah.
because that's how you roll.
I could. I just
Even if you
didn't.
but you also
Failed.
Yes,
so-
I should. I
so-
don't.
yes, I should. I
But
don't.
you have that, and then you also have 100 teammates or something ridiculous that you could just swap
Over
out
100.
wheels.
Yeah.
there's a bunch of people there, but it's surprising. It's hard to get a set of wheels
Yeah.
that have the same skewer
Oh yeah.
and
Oh.
and that have the same diameter of disc brake.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it
This
has
is
to
the-
have the same.
This is the
disc
problem
brake.
with disc brake,
Yes.
right? I mean, it's like everyone I feel like is kind of decided, yeah, disc brake's the way to go. I mean, obviously in cyclocross, but it's like they need consistency.
Yeah.
So
You tend to see
It's starting to come
It's
around.
getting there. Yeah,
It
you
should-
see more
yeah.
consistency in the road and the cross and the mountain, and
Yeah.
you're not going to be able to cross pollinate between those very
but with
easily.
100 teammates, I bet he could have been
Yeah.
like, hey, anyone got any great knobby
It
tires?
just- it didn't happen.
Yeah, whatever.
I just rode on the other ones. I didn't go down. I was okay. I was like 13th out of 40 guys or something like
It's
that.
okay. He's got like 80 more races this season, so
Yeah,
he'll be
that's
fine.
So that was my racing week. I did
Nice.
get to go ride with my wife, which was fantastic. We got out for 30 or 40 miles one day. So
I saw you on the road, and I did not run you over.
oh, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I didn't look too embarrassing out there with.
I mean, I didn't go that far, but
Yeah. And then I also just came from a doctor's appointment. It was a follow-up visit from my back surgery a year ago, and he says that I'm irreparably broken.
There you go.
He was talking about like your mental,
head,
your
yeah.
mental
My
state.
my
Right.
mental state is irreparably
But your back's
broken.
fine. Your back's fine. Your back's fine.
Yeah.
He actually said he's never seen somebody with drop foot that has been able to perform the way I have
Yeah.
and has recovered the way I have, even though my drop foot has not resolved. I still have drop foot on my right side. I don't think it's going to come back. He doesn't think it's going to come back either. There's nothing really more we can do. So, but he was like super happy of just where I was at. So I can't. He said ride more. How about that?
Did he really?
Yeah. He
Is
said
that a
keep
script?
riding.
Is that an actual
You're like-
script from?
It's a script from the
There's-
surgeon.
The
Yes.
problem is there's only so much time in the day. Literally.
Yeah.
There's like
That's
you got to
right.
sleep at some point.
That's my whole week. That's it.
That's good.
enough.
That sounds glorious.
Yeah, it was glorious.
Were you a little bit sick too?
I've been fighting a cold all week,
Oh.
which probably didn't help with
Yeah.
the racing because I still went and raced.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
Best thing for a cold.
I think Evan's been fighting something too, but Evan had a pretty cool week.
Little
You
bit
got-
different than what
yeah.
I was fighting from Lance. yeah.
Right.
You got to go hang out at Interbike, and
The
you got to have your
Interbike
own.
conference.
Yeah, you got to have your own booth there too. That's
Yes.
not
That is
something
cool.
too many people get to say. Tell us about your past week,
It
Evan.
was a lot of fun. I was in Reno, Nevada for the Interbike conference, as Jake just said. And I was with my company, Edge Cycling Technologies. We were unveiling our new fully patented saddle now. So, it was, I think, like almost a year and a half now of like total work has been put into kind of unveiling it at this point,
Yeah,
now shipping
yeah.
out our final saddles.
That's cool.
So it was a ton of fun going there and being around. We were at a booth right next to Tailwind Nutrition,
Oh yeah.
Noon, Cliff Bar, right next to the Wahoo tent too.
Okay.
Just an awesome like area. At Interbike, it was surprising. Some of the bigger bike companies weren't there this year. So you didn't see like Giant, Trek, Specialized. The reason being is they'll have their own like conferences now, basically.
Yeah.
People go to see their new products. They don't need to go to these type of
Well,
conferences
Trek
anymore.
does something in Wisconsin, and they have a
Yes.
cyclocross race.
They did.
And I don't remember if they call it Trek World or I can't remember what they call it.
The Cross Cup.
The Cross
Trek
Cup.
Cross Cup.
Well, that's the race that they have, but they also have like their Trek
Oh,
conference.
yeah, they have a big
Yeah.
conference.
but I don't remember
around
what
it.
they call it.
Yeah. So I didn't get to see like what's the next big cool thing that Specialized or Trek is coming out with. But
I think Trek's going to announce something on Thursday. This podcast comes out on Wednesday.
ooh,
I don't know.
we'll have to talk about that next time we're here. Yeah.
Right? We'll see. I don't know.
But I did get to see something really cool.
Okay.
There's a Ollie Light company that just came out with a magnesium road bike. And the magnesium road bike is kind of an interesting idea. So there was the heyday of like when everything was going titanium for a bit.
right.
And so magnesium comes from the more the aeronautics sort of world. They've been
Right.
using it as a material there for a while. And now it's, I think like a lot of things, they kind of, a couple engineers bring it into the cycling world and they see how it works. So it'll be interesting to see if that becomes like your higher end. I mean, it's a very durable substance. It can get light, but it's not like mind blowingly light or anything like
Stiff.
that. It
Stiff,
is
yeah.
stiff. Yeah. It's very responsive too,
Stiff,
I think too.
supposedly stiff. It's definitely expensive, but
Yeah.
but so it's like
I
there's
did
different
not
types
look
of
at the price
There's different
range.
types of magnesium, and this is some sort of like super durable magnesium that they use for rocket engineering
Yeah.
type stuff. It
Yeah.
comes from like NASA basically, and so but then. Because magnesium typically is like super flammable, right? Like we all played with that in chemistry
Yes,
class.
I
You can,
did.
you can burn a hole in any
It would
table.
be the thing that like turns out like white flame too when it lights, doesn't it?
Super
Yeah.
fun, yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing that I think it's hard. It's like the shaping of tubes these days. Is
How do they do
That's
that?
yeah.
so?
Does that make it more expensive?
I don't think they can
process?
do it. I mean, if you look at
That
titanium bikes,
process would be very expensive,
Yeah.
I'd imagine.
if you look at titanium
Yeah.
bikes, right, where it's like, they're awesome. I think they're great. I think all of us should consider a titanium bike, like just because super durable, still light. Like
Yeah.
there's just great things about it. Very good ride, like a stiff bike ride, and stuff like that. I think we should all consider titanium. At the same time, it's not going to be the fastest bike because aero road bikes are
Yep.
so fast these days, and it's
Yep.
the shape of the tubes.
And carbon is so much cheaper to manufacture than the titanium.
Yeah.
That's why carbon bikes have
Yep.
exploded, even though it's not as durable.
Right.
But they're just
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you risk snapping it every single time you hit the ground.
Yeah,
But yeah.
The durability thing is
Yeah.
why I think that we should,
Yeah.
look at some of the different materials.
We
Aluminum is a little.
I still love
finicky.
aluminum.
I still love aluminum
personally,
too, but it's
yeah.
I mean, you can dent it and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
just, I liked my aluminum bikes. I have a steel bike, which is awesome. It's just like I just feel like, I'm not scared of that bike getting crashed or whatever.
Yeah.
Like the kids are in the garage is my
Things are
normal thing. It's
indestructible.
like
Yeah.
my kids are gonna destroy stuff. That's what they do.
Yeah. But yeah, going back to the titanium,
Yeah.
it was interesting
Oh,
when
magnesium.
because we had a lot of Interbike is open up to all retailers. So I was basically I was basically a salesman all day, which as Lance knows, most people in the medical world like Lance is a rare bird in the medical world. He's a great salesman too and like likable person. Medical world people aren't great at being salesmen. So
all
I had to
bookworms.
I had to wear a different hat, which was fun though because I talked to a ton of bike fitters. And I really like our saddle because I think it very much works well with the time trial position, sitting your pelvis in a position where it needs to be and allows it to rotate. So being able to like talk to the bike fitters through that was really cool because some of these retail guys were guys who were bike fitters at their shop.
Right.
So, we'd sit there and nerd out and we didn't really mean to do this, but the saddle ended up being very light for its price. So we have titanium rails. It's a 180-gram saddle.
I know. That's
Which
one.
really, we did not mean to do. Like we kind of just stumbled upon, oh wow, this construction is really, really light.
It's really that's one of my favorite things about it
Nice.
is how lean it is.
Yeah,
right?
and that the original prototypes were not that way, but as we skinnied it down and went through some feedback, it was great going there and seeing people look at the saddle and be like, this is a really like sleek looking saddle.
Yeah.
And it was, it's not I think I've seen a couple saddles out there now. They're like 100 grams, but you're paying $700 for that. Our saddle's $150 retail. You're paying like $500 less for.
Yeah.
Right.
And what's 80 grams? Like we were talking about.
Yeah.
Nobody would be able to. 80 grams.
So good
is-
response. Lots of people interested.
Yeah.
There was probably several other saddle type things there.
We were actually set right up next to another saddle, bi-saddle, which is an adjustable saddle. I'll save my opinion on that for another time, but it we had done a lot of research going into the conference on our competition and some of just the history of research on saddles in general. And so the cutout portion of saddles, and we've all seen that, the cutout down the middle, whether it's an Adamo saddle, a Cobb saddle, a Sella saddle, that was done off some very shoddy research that said, it decreases pressure to the perineum or your special area. And what they actually found is that was a 10-person study that had no follow-up. So and anybody who looks at medical research knows if you have a 10-person study, that's like a suggestion. That's like, what's the power of this study? It says it could work.
Same power as that I put out on the bike.
Exactly. Exactly. So,
a lot of power.
And it's a lot of power. And if you think about those cutouts, it's actually putting a lot of pressure on where that neurovascular bundle actually shoots out from. If you imagine if you're sitting on more surface area in that region instead of two rails, basically, you're going to be putting less pressure per square. Let's go with centimeter for the sake of it. That's just common physics right there. But it was cool being able to explain that now directly to retailers and then them kind of looking and be like, oh yeah, okay, this design actually makes more sense than a cutout. So, we kind of had to be our own salesman. No other company there had their 3 owners at their booth. It was
marketing people.
Yeah, just marketing people. So like we were actually the physical therapists that designed the saddle. So we were able to stand there and defend it, I guess, as opposed to, we'd have other people come over and be like, oh, did you see Sella's new saddle? And then we go over there and like try and talk shop with them. And they would just did not want any of it. They did not want to have to discuss that. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, it's kind of cool, just having like you guys be owners and I think a lot of the marketing people that are there, they maybe get burned out on the conference scenes. Right.
Except for the Tailwind guys. Those guys were so cool. Yeah.
Nice.
They're like one of their head marketer guys was there. Super, super nice guy.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're looking at trying a new nutrition product, Tailwind's pretty cool.
I haven't tried their stuff at all.
Very good. So, I like Tailwind quite a bit. But yeah, it was a great weekend. On a small 30-second side note, I got food poisoning.
Oh no.
Oh boy. As I was talking, so this was my off season.
What's the guilty? Was it
here's what
sushi?
Oh God, no. It was not.
just for a little bit of back, Jake's pre-race meal is sushi, which I think is a horrible idea, but
it's excellent.
Jake's yearly sushi consumption is
before any big race, he goes for sushi, but it was not sushi.
No, I should have had sushi.
Maybe.
It was
anything but what you had.
We tried to narrow it down. I don't think it was the food. Okay. I will not say the brewery because in case we have Reno listeners, but I had a peanut butter stout. And granted, I hadn't drank anything in like the last 3 months, basically. And that peanut butter stout did not sit well with me almost immediately and kind of had to pour out the rest. And then we're talking minutes later. Dude. Lance, I'm gonna look at Lance when I say this. I was in the bathroom 20 to 30 times in one night. In one night.
That is terrible.
Now, are you placing blame on said stout, or do you think it was something that was already in you and that was just like the trigger that kind of set it off?
But so the guy who did not get sick, so 2 of the guys in our room got sick. 1 guy did not. We all ate the same thing except that guy did not have a peanut butter stout, who was fine.
Huh. Interesting.
That is not good for that brewery.
Stop drinking beer.
We did some cross analysis. I was joking with my friends. I have a 2-week off season. My 2-week off season is now done. Today was my first day back to real training, and I'm 6 months now to my first race. So nothing but training till then. I spent my entire off season dehydrating and withering away. Usually I put on a good 15, 20 pounds and enjoy my off season. Now I'm like right at race weight again and lost 100 watts. Like it was terrible.
I'm one good stomach flu away from my goal weight.
That was everybody's comment. I was like, no, you do not want to go through that. It's not worth it. It was terrible. Curled up on the bathroom floor.
Oh, man.
Sitting up was hard overnight. Like I go to sit up and be like, nope.
That brewery needs to know about the situation because they need to pull that beer immediately. Something bad.
We actually went to that brewery again to watch the Browns game that night. I watched somebody order the peanut butter stout,
Yeah.
and I wanted to. I am gonna regret not saying something because that poor person probably had something happen to him.
Well, you should call the brewery and just talk to him and say, like, hey, has anyone else called
Yeah.
and said they were sick? Because
We think it was probably from the cans.
the cans.
People were saying sometimes when they can that stuff, those cans will sit out for a little bit. So of course my buddy was like, I bet a rat went and defecated in there, and then you just ate that. So it's like wonderful.
Anyhow, all right, let's move on. This is getting
Okay. So,
Has everybody lost
Tell
their
me
lunch
more.
already?
Tell me more. Tell me more.
We're moving on. That's enough backpedal.
Okay. So that was Jake. Do you want to talk about your backpedal?
it's just more of the same, man. You guys don't want to hear what
No.
happens.
He's back.
I'm not.
He's back to
putting
riding
up,
on
I'm
the
not putting
Wahoo.
up with any of that crap.
Yeah.
I want to hear. You got on the trainer.
I did.
Okay.
I think I mentioned that last week. I put in a solid week. I mean, it was pedestrian by my normal training week. I think I finished with like 6.5 or 7 hours of training last week on the
That's
trainer,
huge.
which is good. You know, my first ride out, I was telling Evan about this earlier. I just kind of wanted to get a baseline on where I was at. I'm not going to go out full on like race mode on this thing, but I wanted to get a good baseline as to where I was at. So I did a free ride, and I was on Zwift, and it was their Watopia for those who use Zwift and know what I'm talking about. And so there's the mountain route that I would like to do, and it's basically just kind of like a little 20-mile-ish little circuit that I'll do. And then there's a climb in there called Epic. So I kind of went hard up Epic the first time I went up it, and I kind of did the first 20 miles a little bit harder just to get a baseline, just to kind of see where I was at and have something that I can compare as I was going. So went through the rest of the week and did 4 structured training days, did a recovery ride, took a day off, and then came back and did another same 20-mile circuit, and I was able to shave 4 minutes off my Epic climb time. And
4 minutes.
and I was able to shave, I think it was 11 or 12 minutes off the 20 miles.
This makes me so mad because like
You know,
I'm
he's
already
once he's back, he's going to gain that fitness back quick.
I'm already seeing like I was hoping there was gonna be this point in time where like we could ride together and you wouldn't just destroy me.
Trust me.
You have a
And-
2-week window. You
I
better
know,
start now,
it's-
man.
These times are still very pedestrian.
but-
I have a long ways to go.
But it's just like this. It's and this should be the takeaway from our listeners. It's like the structured training, right? You don't have to bang. You don't have to bang the microphone. It's
I'm
just
trying to hide
I'm
this
angry about it.
teacup from
No, it's
coffee
like,
cup from the
I
table.
feel like it's like the structured training, and when you guys put it together, it's like, man, you get so much faster, so quick.
Yeah, so I've got a little 10-week program that I'm embarking on.
Okay.
I'm hoping to get myself fit so that I can ride outside before the year is up. I don't know if that'll happen. I will find out a lot more tomorrow, though. I go to the doctor tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
Thank God. And I hope, like, I can't even begin to tell you how much I hope I am basically told that I don't have to wear the shoulder immobilizer. I take it off just to do my elbow straightening exercises and to do my pendulums, just the stuff that the doctor tells me. And I'm taking advantage of said time right now. But God, I hate that thing. I want to take it off so bad. I'm trying to
we have a burn
find
party
a
for that?
tactful way to say it.
We should have a burn party, or we all ride our bikes over it together, or something.
Anyway, so yeah, I put together a week of training, and I got started back at it again last night and did the first day of week 2, and my weeks are starting on Sundays. I don't know why. That's just where they're going to start, and I'm going to just rinse and repeat and keep doing the same thing and keep seeing how it grows. The riding on the trainer is so uncomfortable for me, but it's the pros definitely outweigh the cons. It's it makes me feel good once I get off, but once I'm on there and riding, the first like 15 minutes is just like, holy hell, this is uncomfortable. Your sits bones hurts because of the way that you're sitting on there. You can't find a comfort spot, but you know that in the grand scheme of things, it's going to pay dividends down the road, which it's already doing. So. And then aside from that, just went out and played soccer. Dad, I had to miss the Nincrossi race. I really wanted to get out and do that, but my daughter, who is so much fun to watch, had a doubleheader. She had an 11 o'clock game and a 2 o'clock game. I originally thought it was 12 and 3, and like maybe I could sneak out there, but it actually ended up being 11 and 2. So I had to miss watching the team race, but I did get to watch some awesome soccer.
It's all good.
Yeah,
Family
soccer
first,
time.
man.
Daughter put I think 5 or
Soccer
6 goals in the net. So
What?
Ooh. Oh boy.
she's a little hellion out there on the soccer field. So yeah, that was my week. Not much else to report. So, guys, there's something that I didn't put on the list for what we need to talk about this week, and it's the regroup. And I say that because we actually had 2 people inquire with questions for us.
cool. Yeah.
And
I saw one of them. Yeah.
So let's start with the first one. And last week, let's see here. I kind of lamented a little bit about like the cross structure setup in terms of like when they have
why the elite race is at the very end
of the
instead
day
of
when nobody's there
day.
watching it.
Yeah.
So I got a message from David Bussey on our podcast Facebook page, and he basically explained to me, because I'm somewhat new to the area and I'm somewhat new to cross, so I didn't know how the structure used to be. And they used to have the elites race more towards the middle of the day, and more people would stick around and watch them. And then he basically went on to say that the A race was a bit earlier in the day. The final race of the day were the single speeds and the Cat B men. Now, rewind a couple years, they used to categorize everybody Cat A, B, C.
A, B, and C. That's it.
And then there was an elite at the top of that,
Yes.
or something like that. So, and then they changed that to kind of fall in line with all of the categorization like road. So now it's Cat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5. Yep.
So anyway, so the A race was a bit earlier in the day, and the final race of the day were the single speeds and the Cat B men, and they basically were seeing about 90% of the spectators leaving after the A race, and there was basically a dead final race. So. And then he said, I believe more of the attention, having it on they were basically saying that they thought that more people would stick around to watch the elites and keep people there for a longer period of time. I just don't see that happening. I see it being probably even quieter than it was before.
Yeah, that's tough. That's kind of feel like there's a no-win situation there where it's like, I don't know, a lot of the other, there's still races that are at the end too that I feel, I feel like it's like there's like older women's race and stuff like that that's at the end typically. I just feel like there's not, there's no one that wants to stick around at 2:00. Everyone wants to get out of there and be done after they've been out in the rain for
8:30 or 9 o'clock in the morning.
Start at 8:30 and it's cold and rainy or whatever. People want to take off. So,
well, I mean,
what race do you put at the end?
Wouldn't it make sense though if you want to get more people excited about the sport, put your least attended, your least watched or whatever race like first in the day, and those people are going to stick around after their race and possibly watch like the elites come out and race, and then they're going to be right there smack in the middle of the day. And then the most attended, put them towards the end of the day, they're going to show up a little bit early because they're going to want to warm up and maybe watch the A races. I think you're just going to have better coverage of the whole event. I'm going to stand by that and say that I think that's
and that would give people travel time too.
Yeah.
So if you have all your Cat 3-4s, whatever, if that's a little bit later in the day, then maybe you can get some people coming down from like Seattle for the race, and they don't have to wake up at 4:30 a.m. to get there.
Yeah.
So,
I can definitely see where they're coming from. Having the big show be at the end could keep people around. If we really believe that it's a big show, the elite racing.
I mean, it is a big show, but I just don't think people
is.
stick around to watch it. I just don't.
So, but so like you would do the same thing in any sporting event, right? Where you like in a boxing match, right? You don't have you have all these different like matches or whatever, but the last one is the one that people are paying for,
right?
Yeah. You don't have that one at the beginning, because no one's going to stick around and watch the.
This is where I was just reading cycling news, and they had an article kind of talking about how more cyclists are now starting to kind of at the elite level brand themselves instead of using teams, because the team structure is starting to like slowly fail over time. And I think there's something to be said for like the teams, cyclocross itself, road cycling itself. You just need to advertise the elite races better. You need to create like more characters, like regionally create more characters. I mean, like, why do we go watch NBA games?
Right.
You go to watch LeBron James play.
Right,
you go to watch Dwayne Wade play.
You connect with individual people.
Exactly.
Well, think about, I mean, Chris Froome aside, what's the biggest name in cycling?
Yeah.
That
Peter
like
Sagan,
people
right?
would know.
Peter Sagan. That
Peter
guy
Sagan,
has branded himself, but he's got a personality to boot.
Doesn't matter what team he's on.
Yeah.
That's the real truth. I mean,
Sagan could drop off teams in general. I would actually love to see him do that. Race himself for a year.
race. Yeah.
There
There
are guys on the continental scene that actually do that. They do not race for a team.
Really?
Yeah.
There's a couple Red Bull sponsored guys that do that.
Well, a lot of his sprint stuff, he's got to have a team.
He kind of operates outside of the team
does.
when he sprints. He
Freelance.
does.
He
He
does.
freelance sprints.
He's very savvy. And
I mean, there's only like one guy in a generation that can do that
Yeah.
at that level. But, other
anyway,
topic.
I just thought that was kind of interesting. I think that that's a topic that needs to be talked about a little bit more, and I think that it could make cyclocross a little bit more fun, interesting, and I think we would have more people to come out and watch if it was set up a little bit more along the lines of like really showcasing your best riders as opposed to people just not having a chance. Like I think everybody should go out and watch the best because that's how you're going to learn. That's what's going to make you better. And if the morning people get to stick around and watch them, and the afternoon people are going to come around a little early to watch them, it's just going to get you more excited about the sport.
I agree with
my
Jake
opinion.
there. I'll side with Jake on that.
And but cyclocross isn't in a state where it's like needing to be resuscitated. I mean, that's like the most popular
Right. It is
racing
very popular.
scene for the entire year. But anyhow, it's still, I think it's something that's the pros and the elites, they deserve to be seen. They're that good. So.
Yeah.
One other quick question about cyclocross too. I was talking with Robert Cummings, who's kind of a quasi teammate. He's kind of a pro guy now, and he's doing some stuff more with a pro elite team and still riding with us. But anyway, talking with him, what are your guys' thoughts on the hand ups? Do you guys know what that is?
I think it's hilarious.
And Obras and a lot of just cyclocross in general have taken that away. Correct?
Yes.
They've started to ban those
Yes.
Well,
in the elite races or in the amateur races too.
All of them. They said if
That is a shame.
there is one of the race series is if you are seen by an official taking a hand up, you're disqualified.
Oh, boo.
Lance, would you like to explain what a hand up is
So-
for those that don't know?
That's somebody handing you something while you're on the course, and it's usually a cup of beer, a
$1 bill.
piece of licorice,
It could be a pair of
Tootsie Roll,
socks. It could be
Cookie.
a $1 bill.
$1
yeah.
bill's popular, yeah.
Yeah, it's just funny, that you're racing in this full race mode, and then somebody's trying to get you to eat a Tootsie Roll, or take a cup of beer and take a swig of it, So I don't know what happened, why this one race series banned the hand ups, but they've said it before the start of every race. There are no hand ups. If you are caught taking a hand up, you will be disqualified. So
I could see the liability of handing somebody a
course.
beer or something like that, and somebody
Yes.
getting a little loopy and
DWI.
Or there's
Well,
kids racing.
Yeah, I mean, you're kids racing,
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, this is Portland cyclocross.
Yeah.
Like, it's supposed to be weird. It's supposed to have character.
It's in good fun.
Yeah.
It is
Okay.
all
Cyclocross in
fun.
general is supposed to have this type of character. Like
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's taken enough hand ups to be legitimately drunk on the bicycle. There's
Yeah.
no way. Like, and if you are, then sure, okay, don't do that.
I don't
but
know what the reason is why there aren't hand up.
It's got to be with the
but-
alcohol. It's got to be a reason for
Okay,
it. you
well
know?
then why not just say no alcohol hand ups? If
alcohol.
somebody's like throwing a $1 bill in your face or a Tootsie Pop or a pair of socks or something like that, or like vendors want to come out and give away some swag and you're in 17th place and you've got no chance and you want to stuff a couple of goodies in your back
Yeah.
jersey pocket, that's awesome. That makes the race fun and interesting and funny.
I think that they should probably have that same announcement and disqualify people if you're in a serious race.
Right.
Now the question is, do you think it was the hand ups that were ruining it? Were people spiking stuff?
I don't know.
I mean, I would
Yeah.
hope that would never happen, but do you think
There
somebody
could be
was
some,
like,
there could
yeah,
be some dangerous stuff,
Honestly,
right?
Who knows
Yeah.
with this day and age, but yeah.
During the
that
race,
would be such a bummer.
I don't even see the hand ups.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't
you're
even
so
see
focused
it.
on the
I'm
wheel in
so
front of you.
focused
Yeah.
on hammering or making it to the next corner. I don't even
crash.
see them.
Don't crash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what if it was a race where you burp flatted and you're basically
Yeah.
limping around? You're like, dude, I'm going to take my bike and go home.
Yeah,
and
right.
somebody's like,
I'm
wants
taking
to put a
that
little
licorice
$1
hands
bill
up.
in
Someone's
Lance
got a
Romance's
$1 bill
phone.
out there.
Then, yeah.
I know, Lance. I know you take that $1 bill.
Oh yeah, take the dollar.
You might not take a beer, but you're going to take that $1 bill, right?
So what's our consensus around the table here? Should we bring back call or
Oh,
hand ups?
Yes.
Absolutely. Keep it.
I think that,
Yeah.
that's something that Robert was telling me that he really wants to see brought back. And
But
I
he's
completely agree.
probably the person that should be a little bit more like, yes, let's do it at these. Let's call it, B races.
Yes,
like
yeah.
do it at all the B races. But he would be one of those people that's like, hey, at this race, and this race, which he gets invited to some of the big
Yeah.
Does.
races.
He's vying for the podium at every race he does.
Well, and he'll go to USA Nationals.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
so there's some different races that I think that should have different standards.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say like blanket statement, yes, let's do it. No, there needs to be different standards. At USA Nationals, come on.
yeah.
That's
Well, even
I kind of agree with that. You got to keep it at. I mean, if they want to be taken really seriously, you can't have stuff like that going
and
on.
people.
Well, yeah,
are
but in the
taking
Tour de
cyclocross
France,
serious.
actually, I mean, the auto boosts in the Tour de France, those guys are taking beers up Alpe d'Huez.
yeah.
Really, I mean, those guys are like drinking beers up Alpe d'Huez. So,
It's awesome.
I mean, on the Champs-Elysees, they're drinking champagne.
Right.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
All right. So, and then let's get into the other one real quick. We had another listener, Darren Cass, who is another local cyclist here, shot us a message, and he just had kind of a question. He's like, "Hey guys, I hope this isn't a little too obscure of an issue to talk about on the podcast, but maybe not. I'm not a racer, but I'm an aspiring racer, and sometimes I get up and sprint on my commute rides home. My issue is perhaps leaning forward a bit too much, or at too slow of a pace lifting up. Basically, when he gets out of the saddle and starts sprinting, he's having some back tire skip. So if you can think about getting up and you're sprinting your butt off and you're leaning forward and you're really putting the watts into the bike, you get that back tire skip, and sometimes it would be skipping laterally, and sometimes it's just coming off the ground and he's losing contact. He wanted to know how he could basically correct this or what the acceptable norms are. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, this happens to me all the time.
Yep.
And I thought I was just doing it wrong. I just thought I was an idiot. Like I must have the wrong pressure or my weight too far forward, because if I'm really, really sprinting, like 1200 watt,
Right.
going for it for 30 seconds, my back wheel comes off the ground several times.
Yep.
Never had that problem.
No, and for real sprinters, not like Lance's 12, but no, they'll like
Real sprinters do like 14 or 15 or 1800 watts.
Yeah, or more. I mean,
can't-
they do
I
like
can't even
serious watts, but
Yeah.
they'll like do it on the trainers or the watt bikes or whatever, and they'll have to hold the bike down in the rear. They'll have someone like add extra weight to it because the whole thing can lift up, either the whole trainer or the whole watt bike itself. You know, those watt bikes
yeah,
are
right.
like
They
weighted.
Jump.
They will skip, absolutely. So I think all of us do see the same issue. I think there's probably techniques that the triathletes don't know about for sprinting, for getting to 12
Here
for getting
would be my two questions to him. But what kind of tire pressure is he running? And then two would be, what frame is he like what frame size is he running?
Okay, so that was part of my response back to him, is making sure that your frame, the bike that you're riding, is the right size. I could see this being an issue if the frame was too big and being too small.
That's true. Yeah.
So if you're too far forward up on a long frame or big frame, you're going to have less downward pressure on that rear wheel, and it's going to break loose. The same thing with a frame that's too small, and if you're getting up too far forward, you're going to be throwing some of that inertia forward, and you're going to be constantly like surging forward because
you're
you're
just tossing that bike everywhere.
Exactly.
if it's
So
too
I could
small,
see that being a situation where it's going to be dancing side to side and coming up off the ground as well. So that was one of my responses back, was check frame size. Another part of it was just making sure that your center of gravity is low.
That's what I was thinking.
If you're sprinting from the hoods, and I've had that issue for me personally, like I'll go back and watch or see some pictures of me at a sprint at Portland International Raceway, and I'm like, why am I not in the drops? And it was just because of the position that I was in to get around or to come up. I felt more stable, and then I didn't drop back down to the hoods or the drops. I just basically stayed up in the hoods. But I think if you're up higher and your whole center of gravity is up higher, that bike's going to have the ability to skip around a little bit more, and I would feel that. When you're putting down 1500 watts and you're really getting into that bike as hard as you can, that thing's going to skip around a little bit, probably a little bit more, though, if your center of gravity is too high.
Too high and too far forward.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah. So my recommendations were: A, check and make sure that the bike size is the right size for you, and B, sprint from the drops, not the hoods, and just keep your center of gravity a little bit lower if you possibly can. And then you can also make sure that you're not too far up over the bars too, because I think you might get into a situation if you're too far forward that you're actually going to start to lose power production. So that's another thing that you can start to quantify. If you're in the right position by getting a power meter on the bike. So if you're, if you get a power meter on the bike and you start doing a sprint and you feel it coming off and you're producing only 1100 watts, and then all of a sudden you change up your body positioning, you get your weight back just a little bit, you get down in the drops, and then you're doing the same like perceived effort, and you look down, you're at 1200 watts, and you're not skipping as much. Well, that solves your problem right there. It tells you you're too high, and you just need to find a better position on the bike to do that.
Yeah.
So
I like that.
Yeah, I don't have that problem too much.
No, I never run into this. Yeah, I'm sorry, Dan. I can't help you much. I don't. I'm not lifting the back wheel off anytime soon.
I think that was a great question, Darren.
No, it is a good
Yeah.
question.
Yeah,
for
Very
sure.
good question.
Yeah, no. The truth
thought
is,
the
all
same
of us
thing.
have felt that bike skip. You know.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And
Absolutely.
to answer the last part of it, is it acceptable or normal? Yes, to a certain degree, you're going to see that's going to happen a little bit. I mean, I'm sure Cavendish and Sagan and Greipel, all those big guys, the big sprinters, probably do deal with that to a certain degree.
And just like anything else, the more you practice it, the probably I'm guessing that you would get better at keeping the bike under a little bit more control. So practice.
And what's most important is that you guys wrote us these cool little comments and questions. So
That's what
thank
I was
you.
going to say too. Is there's a whole bunch of listener feedback, and I would encourage anyone that's listening to consider dropping us an email, even if it's to say like, "What's up?" Whatever you guys want to send us our way. We would love to hear from you guys. And if they would like to hear from us, they can send us an email. Right? info@dialedpodcast.com. Is that correct?
Yep, that or any of our first names at dialedpodcast.com.
Nice.
It's all set up. All works.
Awesome.
Cool. All right. Our first little topic here tonight is going to be tonight, today, tomorrow, whenever. Bad stuff.
Bad stuff.
Yes, we did good stuff last week, and I had a
Not
tangent.
good stuff.
Not good stuff. And I had a little tangent in there, and we called it bad stuff. I'm like, wait a second. You know what? That would actually be kind of a good little topic for us to talk about. So we're going to run around the table here, and we're going to talk about bad stuff. Matt,
Sure.
how would you like to get
I
started?
told
The
you
most
not to call on me.
pessimistic
I told you
person
not to
on
call
the
me.
panel.
Matt's doing that like blank stare, like he's the kid in the back of the classroom trying to slouch down in his chair a little bit. So
Jake, that's who you call on. No, we've talked about this a lot on the podcast, but I think we as cyclists and definitely triathletes, we need to basically be super careful because there is a general impression that cyclists and triathletes are jerks. And I think we kind
hey,
of
Matt, shut up, dude. Come
We are.
shut up.
I don't want to hear you talk about this.
on, stupid triathlete.
Yeah. So
Drink your tea over there and
drink
quiet
your tea
down.
and shut up. No, it's. I think it's like an epidemic. I think that we just have like this serious problem of how people perceive our sport and how people perceive our passion. And we joke a lot about like how much we talk about it, like when we're in mixed company, and whatever it is, people might not want to hear about it, and that's fine or whatever. That's great. But I think we need to kind of take the next step and just be like, yeah, like we don't look down on people that are slower than us. We don't look down on people that are not as fit as us. And we don't look down on people that are heavier than us, which is, frankly, it's a lot of people, right? Like that's, and I just think like, we're not doing enough. We are flat out not doing enough to be like overly nice and overly sympathetic to the non-bikers and the non-triathletes. So that's my kind of one piece of, bad stuff.
I thought we were better than them, though.
We are. That is true. We are better. No. That's the impression I think that we're putting out.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's bad stuff.
It's bad stuff.
It is bad stuff. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll go a little bit more like joking about this.
Perfect.
During preparing for a triathlon, we need to, as a community, stop sharing chamois butter. It's kind of weird. Like, it's like the amount of sharing of that I saw somebody. this was before Santa Cruz 73.
Yeah.
We are in transition. I'm okay if you maybe hand the tube to the person. That's okay. Somebody said,
Oh my gosh.
do you have some shea butter? They knew they were holding right then. Sure. They put it into their hand and then kind of like swipe hands, I guess. It's like they were trading I don't know what there. And then they both went to go to the place you put chamois butter. Immediately after that.
It's okay because it was after that.
And I am not a germaphobe by any means. Like I eat food off like the floor. I don't care. But
Okay.
I mean, like that is just weird.
That's bad stuff.
Also, if you're going to a race, why are you not bringing shit? Like, what'd you think? Like, oh no, this wetsuit's not going to rub a hole through my neck if I don't put some lube up there.
No, one of our friends the other day was like, "Oh, I never use chamois cream," and we're like,
Who said?
"What? You remember that?"
Oh no!
And,
Yes, I
and
do.
we were like,
Yes, I
"This is going to change your life." It's like,
I do remember that.
You've been biking and doing triathlon for like 5 years, and you still haven't used this yet. But another side story is so in the running world, right, where I come from, it's Body Glide instead of chamois cream. It's like
Yeah.
the big product. And
I use both.
So but Body Glide's 10 times worse because it's like deodorant stick type.
Oh, it's disgusting.
And you're rolling it on your inner thighs, basically, for the most part. And that's your personal item. right?
It's not a
Did you see?
shareable item.
Did you see kids share that back
No,
and forth?
well, yeah, but
God.
but here's the kicker: is now because you have a whole bunch of the running community or whatever, and this is adults and things like that. People will ask me, "Hey, I need to borrow your Body Glide," and the answer usually is no, unless you buy So what I did was I bought a case of it, and then when someone would ask to borrow a Body Glide, then you don't say no. You hand them a whole brand new thing.
just give
this
them
is
one.
yours.
Don't ever give
My
me this
gift to
back.
you.
Yeah.
I don't ever want this back.
I don't know. You don't want that
Yeah.
back. It's been used.
That is bad stuff.
That's bad stuff.
Lance.
That just scares me. So disgusting.
Yeah, tastes great. Tastes great.
Oh my God.
Hold on. When they were doing the hand transfer thing.
Yeah. Oh, it was a moment I had to look at them
the
first.
double
I had
Please
to-
tell me that someone hadn't already put some on and then they did it a little
I
bit
don't
more
know.
and did a hand transfer.
I don't know because I looked over as the transfer was happening, and I'm not sure if there was. I would assume since the glide was or the chamois butter was already out, that there had already been some application going on,
Oh, jeez.
which is
That's
Yeah,
bad
dude.
stuff.
I see that's very bad stuff.
What if
bad form.
What if you were in a world of hurt and you needed it so bad or you weren't going to finish
That's
the
fine.
race?
Then that's fine. Go ahead and yeah.
All rules are off.
Oh my gosh, you could. At that point, I don't care how it gets there, but yeah,
Oh,
that's
no. This is a rough podcast.
Yes.
Let me just
Wait,
apologize
we're just
to the
getting
listeners.
started. There's more bad stuff coming.
this is especially bad for me. I've talked about serious bowel issues and
make-
chamois butter so far on this podcast.
Chamois butter after the serious bowel issues. That's
Oh God, yeah,
please,
no,
that's
let's not go there. Lance, clean us
bad
up here.
stuff, Lance.
I've got 4 things I want to share.
I've got a few more too, so go ahead.
These are things I do not like about cycling.
Okay.
Unacknowledged waves.
That's bad stuff.
That's very bad.
You know what I'm
stuff.
talking
That-
about?
That's,
That's
bad,
bad.
form. That's
Yes,
bad form.
you're out
Yeah.
riding and some cyclist is coming the other way and you wave at him.
you
and
have to wave.
Yeah, you just wave and
Are
you
you
get.
Are you okay with the head nod? Is the head nod
Yes,
okay?
I'm
Head
okay.
nod's fine.
I just
Yeah.
want acknowledgement. Hey,
Especially
we're out
when they
here together.
rubberneck you the whole time. They're looking at you and they don't give it back to you. You're like, really, guy? Come on.
There was one guy last week. I must have been on. I passed him like 4 times because he was always going the other direction. He never went back at me once.
That's your 4 bad things. It's like
my
you passed
4
him
bad
4
things.
times.
The stupid guy never waved back.
Okay.
If that guy's listening to
You
this,
tried-
please call in and can we have a one-on-one between him and Lance?
Did you you pass him 4 times and you wave every time?
I waved every time. I'm like,
You would
he's gonna
wave
see me.
every time.
He's gonna see me this time. I see him. He's gonna see me and wave back.
Oh,
You,
that's funny.
you should have done both hands. Take both hands off and just wave.
Hey,
I am waving at
I'm
you.
waving at you.
You owe me a wave.
Flip around next time. Get your water bottle out, ride by and squirt him.
Squirt him.
That's for not waving at me, jackhole.
Yeah. So you got to think he did he look like he was doing a workout?
I think he was just in his own complete world. I don't know.
Even if I'm in a world of pain and I'm working out,
I think it was
I
Lance's
always do
face.
the-
It
I
might
do
have
one
been
of
me.
these.
I think he was from New York. I think that's what it was.
Probably from Ohio.
He's probably from
Oh, get out of
Ohio.
here. Get out of here.
Out of here.
Okay, the next thing I don't like
Okay.
is forgetting when you're clipped in.
Oh, yeah.
Especially new cyclists. You roll up to the stop sign, you forget that you've clipped in, and you forget to clip out,
And it hurts. Yeah.
and you end up going down.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
no good either.
Yeah, those falls hurt. They hurt, and it hurts the pride the most.
Yes.
That was my first fall clipped in. It was at the stop. I think it's everybody's first one. It's going to the stop sign. You're like, all right, here we go. Oh, wait. My foot's not leaving this clip right now.
I'm going down, aren't I?
And
Yep.
It is so slow. I'm
it
going down, aren't I?
happens.
Yes,
It
I am.
happens to everybody, too.
absolutely.
When was the last time you had that fall?
What?
Oh,
A clipped
in
in stop sign
cyclocross
fall.
one, you had that.
No, it was after a race. It was
Yeah.
after
Oh,
a
I do
race at
remember you saying
PIR.
that. Yeah.
Oh, PIR. Yeah.
I had just killed the race. I
Yeah.
took like second in the sprint at the race, and then I roll up to the pit area to, talk with all my teammates and buddies and promptly fall right over on my side because I didn't clip out.
So who heckled you the best after that happened?
They all just stood there and laughed at me as I looked like an idiot laying on my side. I'm okay. I'm bleeding, but I'm okay.
You don't remember anyone in particular giving you a hard time?
I don't remember. I just remember, yes, I did just fall over.
Oh man.
Did you give yourself a score?
It's the slow motion one.
Any
where
style
I'm
points in there?
completely stalled, and I just fell straight over because I didn't clip out.
All right, so that was number 2 of your bad stuff of 4, right? Or
Yeah.
was that 3?
That was number 2.
Okay.
Keep 'em rolling.
Number 3 is bad stuff is flat tires.
Yeah.
Yep.
It is something we always deal with in cycling, and learning how to change a flat and doing it the right way. And
What about finding glass with your finger when changing a flat? That's bad stuff.
That's
in there.
That is
Or-
very bad stuff.
or a little tiny wire?
Yeah.
I've impaled my finger searching.
Have you guys ever?
Did we find some glass on that ride we did a while ago when you, me, and Mike had to time trial back? Wasn't there something in your tire?
Yeah, there was
that you had to pull out?
wire. There was a piece
That's
of wire.
what it was.
Yeah.
Is that when you pricked yourself?
Yeah, it's
yes.
like
that's-
ripped my finger
I
open.
remember that. Yeah.
Have you ever been found one of those wires or something stuck in the tire and not been able to get it out? Right, you don't.
I was not
you're
able to get a piece of glass out once.
Right?
It
You
was
don't have
so
pliers on
wedged
you.
into there.
No,
I
you
would have had to
don't.
cut the tire apart.
Yeah.
Yeah,
bad-
didn't you say
it's bad
that
stuff.
happened to you not too
Yeah,
long ago? And you
yeah.
had to use your
I used my
teeth? That's a
rack ride,
terrible
yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
Coming
no,
from
that's
the
good.
dentist.
No, that's good. No,
is there
that's
a
fine because there's
dentist?
nothing important in your mouth there.
Is there
That
any,
could-
I know. When I was doing it, I was like, "This is a horrible idea," and it worked perfectly. And I was
Like,
like,
all right.
"Oh gosh, as long as Lance never knows about this,
Built-in pliers.
Did you admit it to my face?
as long as Lance doesn't ever know about this," I was like, "JP, who I was riding with, JP, don't tell anyone about this."
What's the Lance? What's the like average bite force of like a mat
Oh,
of a
I'm very-
person
I
mat size?
My jaw strength is very low power, very low wattage. My
very
wattage,
disappointed.
but you could bite down for a long time.
my
yeah. Newton centimeters of jaw pressure.
yeah, my
10 Newton
FT,
meters, yeah.
FT jaw power, FTP jaw power is pretty low.
FTJP.
Yeah.
What's number 4, Lance?
Number 4 is creaks and squeaks.
Oh, that's true.
Those are the worst.
They are the worst when you. I have several bikes and there's always one bike that has a creak that I can't resolve for some reason. So I'm always fighting creaks and squeaks and messing with the
That's what
bottom
happens when you
bracket.
ride 400 miles a week.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. You just wear things out.
Yeah, we do a pretty good job of working those out, though.
Yeah,
Generally speaking, we get get it resolved.
We've been battling. It's a constant battle for me.
I still have a pair of wheels, and the spokes are just doing something like some creak or whatever. When I put enough force into the wheel, it's like. And we looked at it like a long time ago, and it's still like I still can't figure it out. So I don't know what to do. I mean, it's not bad; it's totally rideable, and it's not a problem. But it's that little noise that's going to drive you crazy. So bad stuff.
To quote the great Easy E, throw it in the gutter and go buy another.
Do we just drop an easy quote on this podcast?
I'm pretty sure all podcasts from now on need easy E quotes.
Oh, all right. I've got a couple myself, guys.
Okay.
How about the poorly executed snot rocket?
Ooh.
Yeah.
There's 2 forms of the poorly executed snot rocket. The guy that blows the snot rocket that doesn't do it with enough force and gets the snot all over said person's face and doesn't bother to like wipe any of that up.
Yeah.
Or the jackhole that decides it's okay to do the snot rocket while you're at the
somebody
front
else.
of the group of the riders, or the train, or you're doing pace lining, or team riding, guys up the front blowing snot rockets, and you're like a rider or 2 back. You're like, thanks, guy, appreciate that. That was awesome.
There is an art to the proper form of doing a snot rocket.
Yes.
That is for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trail off the back, give yourself a little space.
Yeah, and usually, I mean, if you look back, there's no cars coming, and you see a guy kind of like pull off
Yep.
the front and go towards center line. You know he's going over the blow snot rocket. Give him his space, and go over there and do that. Don't do it at the front or the middle of the ride or with people right behind you. It's just bad form.
I think I do that with spit all the time. I've been told that I'm that guy.
You're that guy.
Yeah. I'm pretty bad with I think the spit splatters a little bit.
Is it
And
like, are you the guy that just ends up spit all over
Yes.
his face, or not like spit all over other people?
Usually what I do is I try to go off my right shoulder usually, and I'll spit and it'll just hit my right shoulder.
Yeah, that's
So
fine.
yeah.
That happens.
How
Bad
about
form.
here's another one. How about you're out on a ride and some guy just rolls up on you and just starts sucking your wheel for like for a long period of time. You have no idea who this
Like
guy
a
is.
random person.
Random dude.
Yeah, I've had
Rando
that.
guy just sitting on your back
Did he
wheel.
wave
like,
at least?
what are you doing back there, guy? What are you going to come around?
First of all, it's dangerous. Come on.
Yeah.
Like if I don't know you're back there, then
I could be blowing
maybe I'll
snot rockets on you.
I might blow snot rockets. You might take you're not signaling. You're not doing anything, right? Like if I know you're on there, at least then I might help you out. Like point out potholes and whatever it is.
So
right?
when that happens, what do you like try and drop him, or do you just stay steady with what you're doing?
You almost got to drop him.
Try and drop him. Yeah. You try and drop him. No, it's a race now. If you're holding my wheel, it's now a race.
It is now a race.
How high can you go? What's also funny too is when that guy decides to come around you after you've been pulling around for like 20, 30
Dead
minutes.
sprint.
It just takes off. You're like, okay. He doesn't acknowledge you anything. I've literally had that happen several times. I'm like, come on, dude.
Do you guys do the I'm just gonna pick up the pace gradually, because I think that's the way to do it, where they you pick up the pace gradually and you see if you're kind of almost cheering for them. Hold on, buddy. Hold on.
Hold on.
And he's holding on as best he can. And he's just gonna eventually drop.
That's my only option. So
well,
yeah,
because Lance could just lance him with a sprint.
I don't have that option. So me and Matt have to do the slow.
Gradual. I like the slow gradual, because then it's kind of like. You're kind of like his fan. You're like, come on, man, hang on, hang on. And then you're just waiting for him to crack. And then he's done.
You could pull the Quintana and point at your back wheel. Do you guys remember a few Tour de France's ago when Quintana was climbing and he I forget who he was passing. He was passing somebody.
Just telling someone to get on the wheel.
Yeah,
get on my wheel.
It was like Bardet, and he's pointing at his back wheel. It's like, get on my back wheel.
There you go.
As if he needed in case you were wondering.
Oh, is that what I'm supposed to do?
Drafting? Is that a thing?
Oh, you're pushing 500 watts straight up, and
just keep pointing at your back wheel with the
guy. He only weighs
he
weighs less than 100 pounds.
Buck 20. I don't know.
Yeah.
Now, if that guy decides he wants to jump on my wheel and he wants to acknowledge or wants to say hi, he's like, hey, do you mind if I sit back here and ride with you for a little bit? That's
Absolutely.
That's a whole different
Absolutely.
ballgame. As a matter of fact, ride with me all day if you want, man. As long as you're out for a ride, great. But if you're going to sit back there and make it a competition, or you're just going to suck my wheel.
This is when we talk about, so when we're going back to bad stuff like elitism in the sport and stuff like that, just be more social in general. That's kind of what we're getting at here. It's the lack of waving, the lack of human communication if you're riding on a wheel. What human being, when waved at, could you imagine if you're walking down the street, you're like, hey, how's it going? And you wave at somebody and they don't say anything back? You're a weirdo.
We've said it before and we'll say it again. Just don't be an a-hole.
Yeah.
I mean, lack of a-holery in this world in general would be fantastic if we just could just do away with it. But another one that I kind of drives me a little bit nuts. You're out on a ride, and let's say you're cruising along 19, 20 miles an hour, and you overtake a guy who's going 16, 17 miles an hour, and you do all the right things. You announce, you say, up, coming around on your left, passing you, and it's clean and safe, and all of a sudden you go past that guy, and then next thing you know, you look back and he's on your wheel, and at the first opportunity, he's going to overtake you because he didn't want to be overtaken. And then you're like, really, guy? You were riding forever and a day for
Gotta do it again.
And then you got to go past this guy again. You come around him again, and you drop him, or maybe he comes up and tries to do it again. It's like, what are you doing? I mean, are we racing now, or have you guys dealt with that before? Have you dealt with that guy?
We've had that, and Matt, I'm sure you've had this so any triathlete listening to this knows that is an in-race thing. Have you guys, Lance and Matt, have you guys had that happen to you in a race?
Yeah.
You have the guy who has been riding at that pace for his entire race. You pass him, and then that guy puts out a 450 watt, just 30-second effort to make sure he passes you again, so you have to do it again.
Yeah. That's pretty common in the triathlon world.
Or similarly, you're in a race and you're near the front of the group and you put out a massive effort to get a gap, and you just crush yourself to get a gap, and you look behind you and you haven't dropped anybody. They're all right on your wheel, and you're like, oh, geez.
I think that's just bad stuff, just in general. That's That was actually another one of mine, Lance. How you mentioned that was thinking you're doing great at the front,
I'm killing it. Here I go.
Nobody's
you check, and you're like, oh, they're all right on my wheel, or I just pulled the whole group back to the breakaway.
And you're looking at the third or fourth guy back there who's drinking. He's drinking his water.
You hear the freewheel in the back.
That's actually that's not bad stuff. That is the worst stuff. You just put out your best 5-minute effort, and you hear a freewheel behind you, and you're not going downhill.
That's bad stuff.
Yeah, that's very bad stuff.
Again, I don't mind if you want to come up and sit on my wheel, but don't turn it into a race after you've been riding, that pace all day long, and then all of a sudden you get passed by somebody and your ego got a little bit bruised. And this one's bad stuff. We've talked about this, and you guys know my thoughts on this, but distracted driving, don't do it. Please don't do it. That's a really bad stuff.
It's the worst stuff.
Yes. Yeah. I see it everywhere. There's always, there was just a crash that somebody posted up something down in San Diego. Lady was driving a pickup truck and basically flipped her truck over multiple times on the freeway, and kid got ejected. Thankfully, the kid survive, but it's intensive care because mom was driving distracted and the kid wasn't wasn't sitting in a child seat. It was too small or whatnot, but too many people get hit, and there's too many things going on in this world. Just put it down and just concentrate on the road.
Oh, I actually on Saturday night, tangent on that right there.
Yeah.
I was at a Ben Howard concert and at Edgefield in McMinimans. Anybody who isn't from this region, we have this really cool concert venue, cool. Edgefield, McMiniman. It is awesome concert venue. Ben Howard, great live, by the way. Anyway, driving back, they took down the 5 bridge down to 1 lane,
Right.
which is just a nightmare. I mean, just an absolute nightmare. We were driving from 10:30 to 12:30 at night, basically, to get back. Should have been a 15-minute drive. Anyway, we are in standstill traffic. Going south the other way, we watch a big semi-truck stop. There's this guy flying in a truck. You can kind of see him coming for a second. Now, there's stop traffic, and it is obvious. This guy's moving. He tries to, skirt around the truck, I think, or, come into the left lane before, I guess, slamming on his brakes. There's a car next to him, though, so he can't get over. The guy slams into the semi in front of him. Oh. Absolutely slams into it. I mean, it is out of a movie sounds. He was probably going 45 miles an hour when he hit this truck. Oh. Crunches his front end. He's sitting there, and we're my girlfriend Cassie had saw it live. She saw it happen. I just heard it. We look over. The guy still in his hands has his phone. He is no lie. His front end's crunched. He doesn't have an airbag somehow. He is slumped over with his hands in his phone, still looking at his phone. I always wanted to be for one, how'd the phone not go flying out of his hands? And two, good God, how are you looking at your phone at midnight on 5?
Yeah.
That's a very busy highway.
Yeah.
On the bridge, too.
So, do you think people should probably be just putting their phone down and listening to our podcast while they drive?
I think
That's
so.
a great idea.
I think so, yeah.
Seems like that's the solution to the problem.
We'll keep
There
you
you go.
engaged. Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Unless anybody else has something that they want to talk about
I
here.
got one last one.
Okay, bring it.
When you're on a big climb and you're cranking up this hill and you go to click down one more gear and there's no more gears. You're already in your easiest gear. You're like, gosh dang it.
Yeah.
Oh, I got one more. It's on my list. Matt will laugh at this one too. The guy immediately after the race that is already talking about the next race. When I say, I mean as the race ends. He's already like, yeah, this was a warm-up for my next race. That's my favorite. B race for my next one.
And I have one more to keep on with this one more topic. Do you guys, I don't love it when people celebrate too aggressively at the finish line, whether they won or whatever it is. That bugs me. I don't know.
What about the opposite? I just fall down and cry.
No, that's fine. It's just I don't want to like call anyone out in particular, but like there was a marathon recently, and they just the guy won this race, and it was, I think it was like 3 hours basically, or just under, something like that, and he was like freaking out because he's like the champion or something, and I'm like,
of the world,
or the local marathon.
Nobody decided to show up to.
I should not be so bitter, but.
Hey, first place is first place. If you go 258 or 203, right? I'm joking entirely. That's
right.
Please.
Yeah. And it was
taper
actually, I think it was like the same weekend as the world record was set, which was just
ironic,
ridiculous.
Anybody who saw that?
201, yeah.
201 and change.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. He's going to go under. He's the only one who can do it. He's going to go under too.
I think we got some time.
You think so?
I think
in 2 years he goes under it.
I think that number will stand for couple years.
What if they do another sub
5 to
2
10
hour
years.
thing where they actually set up with pacers?
Then it doesn't count.
I know. He's gonna have to do it at Berlin. Okay. Anyway.
No, yeah. I think that record will stand for a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
If anybody hasn't seen that yet, look it up. Eliud Kipchoge.
Yeah.
World record marathon. It'll be the first Google search. That
What
comes
did he
up.
do after he finished his
Ran
world
and
record?
hugged his coach.
He hugged his coach. Totally okay. I think he did like a prayer thing, like super cool. Like he didn't
He's incredible.
Flip out. And honestly, if you're flipping out like that, then you probably should run faster. And if he flipped out like that, I'd be like, he could have gone too. too flat.
A lot of energy there,
A
Elliot.
lot of energy there. A lot of energy.
What does that equate out to with his mile pace?
439.
Yeah, I think something
439. I want to say.
Lord. It's really
Average.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If anybody
Oh,
wants to jump on a
really crazy.
treadmill right now, that
Yeah,
is
439 or 38
let me
or
think.
something. I can't remember.
That would be 14 miles an hour on the treadmill.
I don't know.
I'm going to say it's right around 14 miles an hour on the treadmill. Go home, set
well,
your
we know-
treadmill up.
we
No,
know-
I'm saying don't do that, actually. Go home,
It's probably slower than that. It's because I think 15,
13.8.
15 is
Four
4
flat.
flat.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So maybe 13 high.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's fast.
13 high,
It's
13 high,
so
yeah.
ridiculous. It's really insane. And people don't realize even when you say like 439 mile or whatever, people have no idea. That's still hard. You really have to go to the track and try to run 100 meters
Flying.
at that pace. It'll be hard for a lot of adults to do.
Yes.
So yeah.
He's at your average adult's dead sprint for a marathon.
And it is comfortable for him, right? Like that's
Very
the thing is
comfortable.
it's not a sprint for him. It's comfortable for him because he holds it for a marathon. So it's his pace that he can do on any given day. So yeah.
Yeah.
Insane.
Otherworldly.
Insane.
Good stuff.
But this is not a running podcast.
What are you
That's
talking
why we.
Matt, Evan, shut up. This
That's
is
why that was under bad stuff.
Yeah. We totally went off on a tangent.
dang it. Sorry.
Okay. Our next little segment here is how shall I say this? Poop cyclists and triathletes say, or crap cyclists and triathletes say, or shysta.
Completely different than the YouTube series.
Yeah, use your synonyms wisely so that we can keep our
You can-
family rating on this show. Anyway, stuff that we've heard, and you all have seen the video on YouTube, and if you haven't, it's pretty fun. If you go on there, you can see there's different iterations of it now, but it's basically stuff that cyclists and triathletes say all the time ad nauseum. So what are some of the ones that are funny that you guys like, the things that you think should stay around, or things that people should just stop saying in general?
I've got a funny triathlon one here.
Okay.
So this is in context. This is if you are a man saying to another man, and this is, I know that we just say this and don't think about it, but as you need to get that wetsuit zipper up, you go up to another man and say, "Hey, can you zip me up?" That is what women in dresses say, and male triathletes. Those are the two groups of people that ask somebody else to zip them up.
I can barely get myself dressed in the morning these days. If I'm asking you for some help getting my wetsuit on, you better say, okay, come on, man.
Help him out. No, I think I've zipped you up at a race before.
I think everybody here has probably had to do that to somebody.
But you don't say it. You just walk up and turn around, and they know what to do.
Yeah.
You don't have
Yeah,
to say it.
that's true.
Zip me up.
Could you please zip me up?
No,
Sir.
when I say to Evan, "Can you zip me up, honey?" Sweet cheeks. Thanks, buddy.
Does this wetsuit make me look fat?
Okay, so that's one of my things was triathletes, cyclists are just as bad about going into any general party get together and talking about how they're overweight and whatever it is.
Yes, in general.
And you're amongst the normal people.
Yeah,
that look at you and they're like, "Screw you, dude.
You're the worst. You're the worst. Yeah, we are the worst.
You are
Yeah.
a asshole." Yeah. So.
What are some other ones, Lance? You got any good ones?
Yeah. When you show up on the ride and they're like, this is a recovery ride for me.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just on a recovery ride. Or when you're in a group ride and all of a sudden all the excuses start, right?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't sleep
Yep.
well last night.
Totally.
I haven't had my coffee yet.
Haven't been on the bike in 2
I
weeks.
haven't been on the bike in 2 weeks.
I'm using that one on our next ride, so you're not allowed to use
I
that
know.
one.
I'm just
that's my next one.
I'm writing all of these down because I want to ride with Lance sometime, but I'm just like, okay, so it's
Haven't
coffee.
slept well.
Haven't had my coffee
Kids kept me
yet.
up all night.
Got
The
hit by a
recovery.
car.
This is a recovery.
I think Jake's got the only excuse I would actually take right now.
Yep.
Or it's like, how much does your bike weigh? What kind of wattage are you putting out?
That's my favorite. You just got done with a pull, and there's a guy at the back going, "What'd you average there?"
What was your wattage average?
Is it carbon fiber?
Is that good fiber?
Matt, you got any more?
How much does your bike cost? I hate that question.
Too much.
And you hear that I'll get that I'll have cars
Which one?
stop by. And which one? No, I'll have cars stop by. You're stopped at a light and some car rolled down the window. How much that bike cost?
And I say, more than that car you're driving.
Do you really?
That's actually funny that I in Reno had somebody. We went on a ride. I'm on
that
a
one.
rental bike
Are
that
you?
probably cost $600, and I had this woman pull up, and genuinely very sweet woman.
Yeah,
very
sure.
very nice. Did ask me, she's like, how much did that bike cost? And I just told her it was a rental.
That's what I'm. That's gonna be my
$35.
new
It was a
answer.
rental.
My new answer is just gonna be, this is a rental. It's a rental. Because so my triathlon bike is like, black, and I don't know. It just looks like a. Because
doesn't
and
look
then
cheap.
I've had people be like, hey, that's Batman's bike, or because it looks like a. Time trial bikes in general look fast,
They do.
Yeah.
and then it's like all black. It just looks like it looks a lot faster than when I ride it. It looks slow. I don't know why, but when it's stopped at a stoplight, it looks pretty fast.
The wheels on my road bike are deep dish and
Yep.
have big flashy green stickers on
Yep.
them. So motorists always say something. Oh man, look at that flashy bike! And I always say, I just found it in the ditch over there in the corner.
Yeah.
How about this one? Have you guys ever heard or used this one? It's what Team Sky uses.
Yes, yes. It's what Team Fill in Blank here uses.
Yeah.
My one of my favorites too is show up to the ride, be like, does anybody have a tube?
Yeah.
Show the ride.
Did anybody bring any water bottles?
Yeah.
I need to use the bathroom again.
Yes. All right,
Those
rolling
guys are
at
the
7. Here we
worst.
go. I got to use the restroom.
Those guys are the worst. How about between the time of like July 1st and July 21st, talking about the tour out there? Who won the stage today?
Don't say anything. I want to watch
Yes.
it later.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the don't say anything, don't ruin it for me. How about the warm-up swim announcing that you just peed your wetsuit?
No.
Oh, are you drafting me in the water back there?
Yeah.
Like, I just peed in
I
my
just peed,
wetsuit.
yeah.
What's the most common thing you guys hear in triathlon?
Oh, God.
There's stuff that's like it. So like I don't like. There's a lot of stuff in triathlon that I don't like. Where it's like people talk about their brick runs, which I just think is just like a stupid term for running after
It
you
is.
biked. But like
That's also called running, too.
yeah, it's also called running. Like that's cool. You biked and now you're gonna go run. That's good for you. It's good. But I just don't like the term brick run. I just think it sounds annoying. But I also feel like that's a kind of a common term now. So
I also hate when
need to
that
use
is.
it.
I also hate when that is used as an excuse on a group ride to not go hard. This is why I
I'm gonna go
ride
brick
with.
run after this.
This is why I
I'm gonna
ride
brick
with roadies more, is because I'll just ride as hard as I can during the ride. And then
Yeah.
if you got to run after, that's your own problem.
That's
like,
your own problem.
Nobody's gonna sit there and group like, oh my bad man, we'll hold up here. You got to run after. That's fine. Yes, this guy's got to run after. Everybody, calm down.
But if you and I were talking, I would probably say like, oh, let's do a brick run
yeah.
after this.
Yeah.
So I would use it, and I hate it. And
Yes.
I would say like, let's do a
Hate
brick run
yourself
after
as you're
this.
saying it.
Immediately, I'm hating myself when I say like, I've got to do a brick run after this or whatever. Like I hate myself for saying that.
There's always, oh God, everybody will talk about if there is, God forbid, if there's a hill on a course in a triathlon. I'm talking a hill, like an actual hill. You know, something that most cyclists may need to get out of the saddle for. That hill will get talked ad nauseum before the race.
Oh
Like,
my gosh.
I mean,
How are you going to handle the hill?
Yeah. Like, oh my God, I heard it's 4,000 feet elevation gain that hill. And you get out there, it's like a 400-foot hill. It's like, we need to calm down, people. As a group, we need to calm down.
Yeah.
Too much PR discussion. That's what I wish we had used tougher courses so that people would just be like, it's a tough bike course. It's going to be okay though, because it's fun.
What about the people that like just have to post every last little finite detail
God.
about their rides on all social medias? Is that something that ever bothers you guys?
Oh man.
Yes. That bothers me a lot, actually.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, I'm big into social media stuff, and I think it's cool to read about other people's workouts. Like we're all on Strava and stuff like that. But then what bugs me is when you see like, you know, this person does, you know, one workout every 2 weeks, and it's like, bam, it's on Strava. Bam, they're going to talk about it on Facebook for at least 3 or 4 posts. Got to have that photo from Instagram about that workout. And I'm just like, oh,
How long do those photos take to take? Usually, if you're like somebody who's like taking a picture of like your track workout or your bike ride, Lance would know this. How long?
What do you mean?
Oh, like 5 minutes to take stop and take a photo or whatever it is.
Like
Well,
stop photos where you're like actually riding by.
Well, so like sometimes we're pulling on our cameras while we're riding and taking a photo, right? And then other times
That would be
I'll-
another thing that cyclists say or triathletes say.
I
Gotta
can
take a picture of this.
I can definitely see, that being super annoying when I'm like, give me 20 minutes, I'm gonna get a photo of this. Like,
If I'm on a
put
group
this here,
ride, if
have
I'm on a
light.
group ride, I'm not gonna stop the group to take a photo.
No, all of
What?
your
Yeah.
rides are like destination photos, like
Yes.
photos that any normal person would. Yeah. Let's give him one more season. He's gonna be.
And that's why I want to give Lance kudos, because he'll post something, first your first reaction is like, that's funny. Like it's a funny title for whatever reason, and sometimes it'll like coordinate in with the ride. Sometimes it's just funny, so it makes you chuckle. And then there's a good picture, and then that's it. you know?
because it's what keeps Strava interesting and what I want to look at. I don't want to, and this is I'll blame like pro triathletes do this a lot. They'll put up a bike workout and give like the workout there, like 5 by 5 minutes at 320, 6 by 3 minutes at this. I was like, what? Like, why would you?
It's pretty.
Why are you like? Who cares?
Some people might though, which is sad.
I guess so.
Sometimes in the description, like not the title, but in the description, sometimes I might make some notes in there.
Yeah,
but it's not for you. It's for me when I go back and I'm referencing things historically.
Oh, if it's in the notes section, yeah.
Otherwise, it's just
I see it in titles.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. At least for me this next season, I'll be able to look at those and be like, oh, that's exactly how bad I'm going to get beat in this next race. Yeah. That's exactly how far I'm going to be behind you.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, just to go back on that social media thing, it's just funny for me personally how some things bother me and some things don't. And I don't know, we're all a little bit different. I guess at the end of the day, as long as they're out riding and training and doing their thing, it's not something that I should get upset about, but for some reason I just do. So don't take anything that we just said personally. Keep doing your thing.
I know. I'm like the worst offender.
I
Jake, right now, Jake's talking directly at me. He's like, you post too much stuff. You got a YouTube channel. Dork. Try dork.
No way.
Do you know what I hate?
Man.
Triathletes with YouTube channels.
The worst.
No,
Matt
your YouTube
LeGrand,
videos are
Triathlon
great.
Taryn.
Don't throw me in there. Threw me under the bus right there. that was low. That was low, Evan. That hurt. That hurt a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, triathletes or cyclists? Which ones are worse when it comes to posting stuff on
Triathletes.
Just the things that they say.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely triathletes, I think.
It has to be triathletes, right?
Yeah, it is.
Cyclists cyclists are repetitive in like what they talk about and say.
Yeah.
Like everybody knows there's that guy at the ride who didn't get good sleep last night.
Yeah.
There's the guy that when he gets tired in the middle of the ride needs an espresso stop and will be very strong about the espresso stop. There's the guy who forgets tubes to every single ride, and there's the guy who never carries enough nutrition and is always begging for bottles halfway through.
Right.
Like those are your four guys that you tried.
Yeah. What about the guy that has the habitual problem with the Garmin?
Yes.
The Garmin fail, hashtag Garmin fail. But that's the reason why they didn't get the KOM, or that's the reason why the
ride cut out halfway.
They were supposed to go 100 miles and they went like 40. All right, you've used that line like 14 times in the last like 3 months.
You get two of those in a year. You get two of those in a year.
It's like a mulligan. You only get some of them. Okay, so just go get your job done. And if your Garmin keeps breaking, get a new one. Dang it.
Yeah. It's time to start looking at a new Garmin.
Anything else that you guys can think of in this realm?
That's good stuff right there.
Yeah.
A lot of
It's a lot of bad stuff.
Pass the chamois butter. There you go. I think that's another one.
There's a billion of them out there. Go watch the old YouTubes when you're out there watching Matt's videos. So
They're very funny.
When you're done watching his video, you can go watch things cyclists and triathletes say. There's more colorful word you can use there. Yeah. It starts with an S and ends with a T.
There's one where a guy's just in a bike shop grabbing random things, asking how much they weigh. It's hilarious. he goes and grabs like a brake cable. He's like, how much does this weigh?
Yeah. There's the guy with the Australian accent too. Have you heard him?
Yeah.
He's a little bit more vulgar, but those are hilarious.
He's very funny.
So, all right, one last thing, guys. Let's run around the table here. Evan, one last thing for you.
It's almost Kona time. Kona is right around the corner.
It's going to be a Kona podcast takeover.
Yes.
You guys.
Hope we're going to talk about Kona.
Oh my gosh,
so
we're
I'll give a quick couple updates leading into Kona, and then I also want to mention this week is the World Championship for cycling. So road race, time trial. Watch them this weekend. The road races. It's going to be fun.
On that note, real quick, do you think Sagan can do it again for the fourth time in a row? Do you think he's going to get dropped on the hill?
He's going to get dropped on the hill is my bet.
Yeah.
I bet somebody from Movie Star wins. That's my bet. So the Movie Star train's going to launch somebody.
What's the name of that one hill that they have to climb? That at one segment it has like a 23% grade. That they call it the Hell Hill or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly what it's called.
We'll look that up for the next
It's going to be a
one.
circuit too, style going through this, and people are wondering whether or not he's going to be able to hang on that.
Yeah. So it'll be done next for our next podcast.
Yeah.
We'll kind of do like a short little breakdown of the road race maybe, because it's. If anybody gets the chance to watch it, watching the World Championship is so much fun.
Yeah.
Because everybody's going, there is no strategy for tomorrow.
They want the random strap, yeah.
This isn't like the Cobble Classics where it's like, oh, we got the Tour of Flanders coming up next. You know, we're okay.
It's done.
It is one race.
Yeah.
You got the best in the world gunning one race.
Yep.
But quick Kona update. Jan Frodeno stress fracture, he's out.
Okay, so this Gianfrino, for all
Yes.
the cycling people out there that don't care about triathlon, he is a former world champion,
Two-time world champion.
world champion, and he just won the half world championships. He beat beat all the superstars.
Maybe the
And-
most competitive half
And
iron
he ran ridiculously fast. He ran like a 106 or something like that.
Something crazy.
Which is just insane. So to say he was the favorite is to be putting
an
it
underestimate, yeah.
lightly. Yeah, I thought he was a shoo-in for the win. This being said, it makes the race more interesting.
It does.
Because then you don't have that super front runner.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's still some interesting stuff that could happen. For sure. Maybe the race will be better because of it. I don't know. We'll
Is
see.
Fredeno a big guy?
He is pretty tall.
He's tall, but very, very. He's much leaner now than he was in the past.
Yeah.
So big, tall
He's vegan
guy
tall, too.
running super fast, and he got a stress fracture. Oh wow,
Yep.
big surprise.
Well, yeah, I'm surprised.
He does have a
actually.
little bit of an injury history too. A
Yeah.
little bit of an
I'm-
injury
I'm
history.
surprised. I mean, he was running well. I wonder
was.
if that half took it out of him. 'Cause
Here's-
he went so.
Here's what I think is I bet he did that half, so he peaked form for Worlds in the half, and he was going to try and do a 2-peak season. I bet he went straight back to hard training,
Something.
and he just
Too
his
much.
system. Those guys are always dancing on that line.
Yeah.
There's like the line between doing too much and doing just enough, and when you're at that level, that line is walking a tightrope.
Yeah.
So he tipped
Yeah.
over,
But he
Yeah.
has lots of help. I'm surprised it happened.
Yeah.
So
You would think that guy would have enough eyes looking at him.
yeah, who knows?
All
What a
right.
shame.
Matt,
All right.
one last thing.
One last thing. My brother this past weekend, who has been mentioned on the podcast before,
Dave.
multiple times. Yes, David. He actually finished his first half Ironman race.
Wow.
An Ironman branded event in Augusta, Georgia.
Oh, he did Augusta.
Yeah,
Nice.
I know. Looks super cool. Yeah.
Did he heed all of your advice and your tips and watch your channel?
No.
We need to bring him on so that him and Matt can just argue back
Yeah,
and
that'd be
forth.
Banter,
fantastic.
baby,
It's tough
banter.
because it's tough because
We should have a siblings month where you get to just like everybody's got to bring their sibling on and just banter back and forth.
Yeah. It's tough. Yeah. I mean, he was talking to me about how he got a bucket for his transitions.
Oh, good.
And it's just like, all this stuff. And I'm like, that's fine. Like, that's awesome. Whatever. It works or whatever. And I just trying to remind him, like, just talk to me before you make any purchases. Like, I know you're not going to watch any of my videos on like how to, like thousands of other people like tuning in and like being like, okay, this is what I should do. Great. Bam. Let's do it. And then, he won't even take the time to do that. He'll just, but anyway,
You're just a dumb little brother.
it's a dumb, that's what it is. Dumb little brother. But he did, the cool thing is he did really well on his race. I think he was pretty conservative and stuff on the bike and got out on the run and just I think he was conservative on the run and got through the whole thing. He said he's been much more sore in marathons and stuff like that than the half, which kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's still pretty cool. I think he's got the bug enough that he'll, eventually, I think he'll do a couple more halves or something like that. But I think he's just kind of got it. Like, I think he's hooked on the sport. So it's kind of cool.
There you go.
One last thing.
Excellent.
Yep.
Lance, one last thing.
Just to share the family love again.
Yeah.
Hoping to do some more rides with my wife this week. We've got some nice weather, so I'm hoping that she'll come out with me. And my oldest daughter is actually traveling through India right now.
What?
Where in India?
I don't know. She's off on her own program.
That's awesome.
But she went
That's
to the
awesome.
Taj Mahal, and she
Oh, so
went
she's
to
North India right now?
Agra. Yeah, I
Okay.
know. She went. She's
It is
with
not
some-
easy getting around India
No,
too. That
she's
is
with
very
some
hard.
tour group, so she's not just
Okay. Okay. Good.
faking it on her own. But
Whose Instagram count is better, yours or hers?
Ooh, hers. It's got to be. She's in India right now.
no, it's mine.
All right, we have to errors and omissions. That could potentially go to errors and omissions. Make a Facebook comment on who you think's Instagram is better this week.
It's at Dr. Hep.
At Dr. Hep.
Yeah.
And my
Facebook.
daughter is K Heps.
K Heps. Okay.
That's so much cooler.
HTTPS, yep.
Yeah,
That's
it
so
is-
much cooler
it
than
is very
at
cool.
Dr. Hep.
You're right.
K Heps. That's awesome.
K Heps. All right, that's enough.
All right. My one last thing. This time, next week, or actually by the time everybody's listening to this, I will have hopefully gotten my immobilizer off.
Yes.
And that is going to be a thing of beauty. And this time next week will be 4 months that I've been dealing with this crap. It's been
Oh my
far too
gosh.
long. I think we're at like day 110 or 111 now. It's just this just
He's got
never-ending
it.
process.
He's
So-
got it scrolled out on a pole out here. It's like, the jail markings
Yeah.
right there. One more day without being outside on a bicycle.
Yeah, I was looking back at some pictures. I was looking for something actually my wife had posted, and she posted a picture when we did a little walk thing. It was like my first time being outside walking. I was at 5 weeks. I'm like, man, that feels like so long ago, and I'm still dealing with this crap today. So, but I will hopefully get to make some strides. I'm still like dealing with a lot of crap, and I don't want to lament on all this stuff, and it still hurts and yada yada yada. But I get to make a transition, and I can't tell you how excited I am not to be wearing an immobilizer or sling. I've had one on for almost 4 months. That it's terrible. So yeah, I'll be happy to get that thing up. So that's my one last thing. Yeah. All right, another show in the books. You guys, thank you so much for listening. Go check us out on Facebook at Dialed Podcast and our social media Instagram page that we don't ever post anything up. Maybe I need to employ you guys to help me out since Dr. Hep over here is the Instagram king. Maybe I need to make sure that he's got access and he's posting stuff up, because all I'm doing is posting pictures of like me riding on Zwift, and that's just not glorious at all. So we need a touch of glorious in that. So, but you can check us out on Instagram at Dialed Podcast as well. Matt, thank you for coming back.
Absolutely.
Again. Evan, good to have you back in the studio.
Yes, sir.
Lance, as always, thank you for coming back for more.
My pleasure.
You guys are the best. You guys really do. This is the highlight of my week. So, and everybody, thank you for listening. You guys are the best as well. We'll talk to you next week. Bye for now.